have a lot of questions on the line. May we start with, so this is a question for Ms. Ebol from Marifi of Business World. Do you have an estimate of the volume of disposable PPEs generated daily?
Good morning, ma'am. I'm sorry I don't have the data on the volume of PPEs daily, but maybe the LGU has it. Thank you.
We'll have to note that and ask that question later. Okay, on the question for Ms. Ebol regarding PPE waste volume, perhaps Mr. Jamili would be in a better position to answer that. I mean, maybe he could answer. To rephrase it, what is the volume they process for Davao Region and overall for all their facilities nationwide?
Okay, so right now, ma'am, for Davao Region, again, for the last 3 months, the average is around 50 tons per month. And 80% of those waste that we collect actually are PPEs. So that's around 40 tons per month of PPE in Davao Region alone. But across the country with our installations, I think we're already around 500 per month tons in terms of the facilities that we do have across the Philippines.
That's a lot. That's a lot of PPEs. And you only have like 8 installations, right?
That's still very, very small considering that according to WHO or the World Health Organization, hospital beds is actually generating 1/2 kilogram of hospital waste or per bed per day. Now imagine because of the pandemic, PPEs are also rising in usage. So for sure, mas marami pa talagang waste na dapat i-collect.
Oh my God. So thank you. We have another question from Singapore. Okay. Good morning, Ms. Chinky and other speakers. My name is Hannah from Eco Business, a Singapore-based media organization reporting on sustainability in Asia. Would you be able to refer us to a Filipino company that would admit to incinerating medical waste? We would like to interview if possible. Thank you. Okay, so she's giving the address. Okay. My email ad is hannah.fernandez@ecobusiness.com.
So Ms. Hannah, I just would like to emphasize that IDIS is campaigning against incineration. So we have this campaign here in Davao City. We are opposing the waste to energy and other incineration of waste. So that's first, no? We are against incineration.
So there's another one. Hi, this is Jenny of Sansar Davao. My question is for Ma'am Chinky of IDIS. Several weeks ago, someone from Davao City got trending online for using her own used face mask as a seedling plot alternative. Netizens commented negatively, saying it's unsanitary, but she defended that she had consulted with health experts about it. Can you comment about this? Is this initiative safe for the plants and the people around her? Thank you.
I've read about that post, and I think that was also discussed during the committee hearing chaired by Councilor Villafuerte on her proposed policy on proper disposal of face masks. So our stand, our stand on it is that because we do not know if the face masks are contaminated with virus or not, we discourage the recycling or reusing of face masks. Instead, we are calling for the proper disposal, that it should not be combined with other wastes, and it should be properly disposed. So that's it. I think during the committee hearing of Councilor Villafuerte, we proposed that the proposed provision on the reusing of face masks should be deleted. We propose that because we are not really sure if it will be safe for the people and for the environment also. Thank you.
Okay, so we go to the next question. This is from Bong Sarmiento, one of the editors of MindaNews. So anybody can answer this. PPEs nowadays are not just coming from the hospitals, but also households, especially disposable face masks with the advent of COVID-19. Most likely, a lot of households just mix them with their ordinary wastes. How do you suggest solving such a problem? So anybody can answer.
Yes, actually, the government issuance on how do we manage our PPEs, the policies that when we take off or we use face masks, usually the disposable face masks, we have to, of course, wash our hand, cut the face mask, sanitize before putting into the yellow bag, no. So we have to separate it, we have to separate it from other wastes, now, for the general public, that is why we really need to conduct massive education, massive information dissemination to really make the public understand on the importance of disposing properly our waste, especially the PPEs. So there's this the disposal of wastes in our household, especially the disposable masks, should be separated, should be separated from other wastes, naka-separate siya na container. Kung pwede dun siya sa orange na bag, or i-label natin yung bag na ito ay PPE, and then before we dispose it. So yun po ma'am.
Any other? Maybe from the DOH.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. Yes, for the PPE used in the households, we have a lot of advisory for that. Yes, you must clean your hands before putting off the PPE, and sanitize or disinfect in chlorine, maybe for 30 minutes before separately put it in a yellow bag and separate it from the general waste. Thank you.
Okay. So can we move on to the next question? So we have a question from Calvin. On the DILG Memorandum Circular number 2020-071, requiring mandatory use of face masks or other protective equipment in public areas to avoid further transmission of COVID-19. The question is, I wonder if improper disposal of PPEs are also addressed in the LGUs. Are there any policies addressing this? LGUs. I think, Chinky, for the Davao City Council, they've already discussed about possible about the face mask or the PPEs disposable. Can you elaborate?
Yes. First, during siguro mga May or June, when we communicated to the city mayor's office, kasi IDIS is also a member of the Sustainable Davao movement, and then we observed that during the lockdown, the volume of plastic wastes, including the PPEs, increased, really during the lockdown. So we wrote the city mayor and asking her to really develop the guidelines, requesting the LGU to develop a guidance on how to properly dispose the PPEs in Davao City. But then again, the initial response was that the LGU is following the DOH guidelines on how to dispose the PPEs. And then in June, Councilor Villafuerte, June and July, Councilor Villafuerte invited us to attend to the committee hearings because she said that there's a need to address the improper disposal of PPEs, because we can really see everywhere face masks and so on. So Councilor Villafuerte is proposing the proper disposal of face masks ordinance. So that's it. So a very simple ordinance, but then again, encouraging or regulating the disposal of waste from the households. So including yung sabi ko kanina na like for the general public, if we are using the disposable face mask, we have to wash our hand, sanitize it before putting in the yellow bag. The sanitation can be very simple, like mixture of chlorine and so on, if we don't have really alcohol and other sanitizing formula. no, in our house, no. So may mga simple mixture na pinopose. And then also to conduct massive information to the public on how to do the basic disposal of face masks. And also the proposed ordinance provides for penalty. No penalty, like for example, if you are caught na throwing your face mask in the public, then you will be penalized. But then again, may naka by face, no, like for example, first offense, you have to attend the orientation, the seminar, and then you have to do the community service. Then second offense, you have to pay, no, for penalty, and so on. So that's the highlights of the proposed ordinance of Councilor Billy Fuerte. It has not been enacted yet, but we are hoping that the committee will finalize the ordinance soon, the committee report, and it will be discussed in the plenary, and it will be enacted or passed immediately. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a question from Joey Dalumpines from the Philippine Information Agency in the region. This is a series of questions. So the first question was already answered about the unhygienic use of disposable masks. And then the second is for IDIS. Based on your monitoring, are there entities doing the recycling for face masks to be used again? Wow. How do we detect a used face mask in the market? Yeah, okay. This anybody who would like the use of recycling for face masks to be used again. Wow. And yeah, maybe DOH, or how to detect a used face mask in the market. Can we do that?
We don't have the capacity to really check, no, if the face masks sold in the market are used or not. No? Maybe the DOH or the EMB, have their capacity. But in terms of monitoring, we are also limited by the guidelines, during pandemic. So we don't have that physical monitoring. So what we're doing now is just doing the advocacy on proper disposal of face masks, and then discouraging the public to reuse the face mask, the used face masks. But in terms of actual monitoring, sorry, we don't have that now. No, we were trying to really go around and get some photos of face masks being thrown in the environment and in the coastal areas of Davao City. But then again, yung mga coastal areas or coastal barangays natin are usually high risk, so we don't go there. So sorry, we don't have that actual monitoring, but sana meron, sana City Enro, Davao, DOH, and DNR, we also do that.
Yeah, our next question is for Miss Engineer Jamili from Jill Banta of Break Free from Plastic Philippines. For Neil of RAD Green, isn't pyrolysis an indirect form of incineration, as some EU documents claim? How often do you test for dioxins, furans, and other emissions? And what are the technologies that you use in order to monitor these emissions?
Okay, thank you so much. Actually, that's a very common question that we used to encounter a lot. And we have a lot of memos regarding on that. So they always say that pyrolysis is a facade of incineration. However, it is not. According to the guidelines of the United Nations Convention for Environmental Discussions, there are no direct statements coming from them that states that pyrolysis is an indirect form of incineration. In terms of the testing of dioxins and furans, currently in the Philippines, we don't have testings for dioxins and furans in terms of laboratory capacity. So what we usually do in a year, by the standards of DNR, we actually test this by installation for dioxins and furans. We get third-party laboratories. Usually they're coming from NCR. So they collect the air samples, the stack samples that we do have, and we send this to Singapore or USA to test for dioxins and furans in terms of emission, and all of which are considered under very high capacity chemical engineering reactions. And it is also sure that in our end, as the machine provider, we do have separate air filter technologies, air principles. We have electrostatic precipitator, we have carbon HEPA filters. Pyroclave actually, or RAD Green Solutions, do not support incineration. So we believe that incineration is a major no-no to the country because, for example, dioxins and furans is responsible for, the incineration is responsible for dioxins and furans, most of them. And these are carcinogens. And we don't want any Davaoenyo next to suffer cancer because of the disposal of these medical waste and other waste. So we make sure that this is tested yearly under DNR, DOST, and other third-party laboratories. And these are done religiously and with results that we are willing to post in public.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Engineer Jamili. Now we have a question from Jessa Torres Torrefranca for DOH. Sa DOH, Tagalog, sa DOH po, sa mandatory na paggamit ng face shield, paano po ang proper na paggamit ng face shield? Paano po ang proper na pag-sanitize nito? Okay lang po ba ang paggamit pa ulit-ulit nito po?
The use of face shield, yung ginagawa po namin, pwede lang po siya i-disinfect ng alcohol, outer, or i-wash po muna natin upon arriving sa ating mga bahay. I-wash po muna natin with soap and water, pwede lang po siya. And then, after that, i-let it dry. And then, alcohol po. 70% ethyl alcohol can be. Pwede po siya gamitin araw-araw.
To IDIS, may worry ba tayo na in time na baka hindi na mandatory ang face shield, makadagdag din ito sa plastic waste?
Face shield, ano? Kasi plastic nga siya, as much as possible. Ako, hindi din ako comfortable, no, to use face shield. So as much as possible to really prevent from accumulating more face shield wastes, no? Of course, no, we are all encouraged to stay at home, no? Yan yun naman yung first. No? Second, the face shield, we can, as much as possible, we have to use face shield, no? Reuse. We just have to sanitize it. Kasi kung one-time use lang ng face shield, and then eventually, na all of us will be really contributing to more plastic wastes, no? So we also have partners that produce face shield with the use of bamboo. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with bamboo. So less plastic because the ones they use no para sa face shield dito sa loob ay bamboo. So yung plastic nila ay dun sa harap, no. So yun, as much as possible, we just have to reuse our face shield, but make sure to sanitize it so we don't have to throw it away, no, after our use. So yun, but of course we have to abide with the health protocols, no, that's very important. And then just lessen the accumulation of wastes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I have another question for Engineer Mira of PNP Davao. What has been the challenge of the agency in managing household PPE waste? This is from Rob of MindaNews.
Well, it's been a challenge since it should be the LGU who will monitor the proper segregation of household waste. And until now, we don't have any reports. So it's a challenge for us to know where these used PPEs from households go. Because we don't receive reports from LGU on how they manage these household PPEs. Because it's the LGU who will manage the waste from the households. We only provide the technical assistance when it comes to RA 9003 and as well as RA 6969. We also issue the permits. However, when it comes to the data and reports on how they manage, it's really a challenge. for us. It's a big hurdle for us to know how they were able to manage, not just for Davao City, but it's for all over the country. That's really a big challenge.
Yeah, that's right. So from Bong Sarmiento of MindaNews and to Engineer Ebol, Mamura, and Miss Chinky, this is regarding garbage coming from other countries. The Canadian and South Korean trash, which arrived in the Philippines. It also contained hazardous hospital waste. So in relation to the Basel Ban Amendment, where are we now? Where is the Philippines now in that kind of that kind of problem? Who is championing its ratification in Congress? So we presume that there's a bill proposed in Congress regarding that.
Right now, ma'am, I don't have the update on that, but rest assured that the OH with our environmental related division is making its way to the to that problem with the Congress. Thank you.
Let me answer that. Kasi IDIS has been part of the group organized by Eco Waste Coalition, which participated in the re-exportation ceremonies in Misamis Oriental since 2019. And just last month, July, and then first week of August, we were informed by the Bureau of Customs PEN that the remaining Hong Kong wastes, Hong Kong ba yun? Sorry. I'm reading my notes. South Korea. The remaining South Korean wastes in Misamis Oriental has already been re-exported even during the lockdown. We actually appreciate the efforts of Bureau of Customs Region 10 for really pursuing the re-exportation of South Korean wastes misdeclared in 2017 or 2018 pa. And then we are happy that I think few container vans remain in Misamis Oriental Region 10 because the Bureau of Customs is planning to file a case against the exporter and other involved in the misdeclared South Korean wastes. In terms of policy advocacy, there are lots of networks, national and international networks that are advocating for the ratification of the sorry, I have lots of national. So there's this International Pollutants Elimination Network, or IPEN, which in which IDIS is also a member. That is really advocating at the international level on the ratification of Basel Convention ban, or Basel Ban Convention. And at the national level, we have lots of partners like, of course, the Eco Waste Coalition, Break Free from Plastics, Gaia. We also have the Greenpeace and so on. So these are national NGOs who are really advocating that the national government should ratify the Basel Ban Convention, and we should stop receiving imported wastes. Can you imagine, hindi nga natin halos ma-manage yung basura natin sa Pilipinas and then mag-accept pa tayo ng basura ng ibang bansa. So that's my answer. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So we will have time for 3 more questions. The next question will be from Gail Ilagan. Are we the only country requiring mandatory face shields for the general population? Why? Anybody can answer, I think. Yeah.
I'm trying to check. Parang I am not reading I'm not reading any news about other countries requiring people to use face shield. Parang here lang sa Philippines, but I'm not sure. Baka others have idea or baka may nabasa. Sorry.
So, yeah, DOH. Is that, can we hear from ma'am?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
We are in the Philippines. Our WH is requiring the mandatory use of face shields because most of our cases are community transmission, and it helps a lot if we have a face shield, no, especially in slums area, high congested area, high risk area. Although we feel from the start it's very inconvenient for all of us, but I think so as the DOH said, it helps a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-mm. So there's a question for RAD Tech. Carl Arguelles is asking for him to be more specific. Does it also collect from DRMC and other government hospitals in the region?
Yes, that's true, ma'am. We also collect for DRMC and other hospitals. They're actually into agreements. Usually, the contracts are yearly contracts for big hospitals and institutions because these hospitals actually and clinics are required to have permit to operate. And these permit to operate will not be approved if they don't have any connection with a treater, a registered treater under DNREMB po.
We have another question from Eileen Lucero. So the question is, instead of annual air emissions monitoring, can you do a real-time monitoring of air emissions?
Yes, we actually do actual real-time air emission, but into limited parameters. For example, we have the normal carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, but for dioxins and furans, the mandate actually for dioxins and furans, most, if not all, emission producing machines in the Philippines don't have dioxins and furans. It is a wholehearted test na meron dioxins and furans just to make sure to the general public that we pass the compliance for dioxins and furans. Actually, dioxins and furans are usual tests done for incineration. But for pyrolysis, if you go to the DNR standards, again, there are separate NESAP standards or the national emission standards for different technologies. And pyroclave actually do not necessarily require to test dioxins and furans. But we made sure in installations we include dioxins and furans testing. Because dioxins and furans usually are, again, tested for incinerators.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much. That ends our session. But before we leave, may we ask each of you, our speakers, to say a little something, or maybe then we maybe ask Rob if it is okay if we can share what you've just presented to our participants or to our those who are listening right now. So maybe ask first Engineer Ebon, any announcement, whatever promotions that you would like to share with us.
Good morning again, our viewers and our participants, and of course our resource speakers. For me also, I have known very good idea from all the presenters, and at this point in time, in behalf of our director, Dr. Annabel P. Umang, I would like to congratulate the MindaNews for having come up with this, and I hope we can such a way come up with what can we do to help our community, our constituents, and this really calls for action. And the DOH is always in support of your initiatives. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you. Maybe call on Engineer Barquilla.
Good morning again. On behalf of our director, RD Sophie Manuel, I would like to thank MindaNews and congratulations also for spearheading this forum, for having this forum. I've learned a lot from Ms. Chinky, some of the data I've not known. And also, I would like to remind everybody to please manage. Don't always ask the government to manage your waste for your behalf. Please manage your waste properly. Dispose your garbage properly. disinfect whatever there is to disinfect, so we can avoid this kind of illness to spread, this kind of disease to spread. Also, I would like to encourage everybody, all establishments, to please register online as hazardous waste generator. In this way, we can also provide you technical assistance. We get to know your company, and will help you, will guide you all the way on how to properly manage your hazardous waste.
Yeah.
And your garbage also, although we don't do the registration for the garbage, but the hazardous waste. Okay.
That's right.
So that's all. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Thank you very much. We really look forward to another one like this. This is just the beginning, actually. So we maybe hear from Engineer Jamili.
We actually are very thankful for MindaNews for inviting us to tell the public where does this PPE goes, because indeed MindaNews is fulfilling to its promise and giving safe haven to the people, that PPEs, for example, especially from the medical facilities, are catered well by RAD Green Solutions. Once it goes to our facility, especially in Maya Medways, we are working together with DNR and DOH to make sure that the public is safe. And I think it's very timely to believe into the Helen Keller's words that alone we can only do so little, but together we can do so much. So now is the time that we have to help each other. In terms of hospitals and medical clinics, DOH, DNR, and RAD Green Solutions Maya Medways is one into this quest for making this whole place safe for in terms of COVID and other infectious ways. If you have more questions and you want more information, you may visit us at radgreensolutions.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Engineer Jamili. Yeah, we've been actually to the facility and we were quite impressed. So then we now go to our friend from IDIS, Chinky.
Thank you again, Ma'am Ami, and thank you, MindaNews, for organizing this web forum. We missed the regular press conference, no, halos every day of the week. And thank you very much. We really appreciate this because as much as possible, we really want to continue doing our advocacy work, no, sharing our advocacy campaigns with the general public. And I just would like to reiterate, no, so we, the general public, are encouraged, no, each individuals are encouraged to move away from using disposable PPEs, no? Kahit yan na lang man yung ating tulong, no, para mabawasan yung pag-accumulate ng basura, para mabawasan yung basurang sinusunog or pinapyrolysis ng RAD, no? As much as we appreciate their company, we really want to address the root cause of the waste problem, and that is the accumulation, the generation of more wastes. And we, the public in general, are really encouraged to contribute or to share in eliminating or preventing the waste generation. And may I also reiterate, no, what I've said earlier, that we are all challenged not to allow this health crisis to create into a bigger pollution crisis. So as much as possible, let us use reusable for the general public. For the non-frontliners, as much as possible, let us use reusable PPEs and let us not add to already accumulating wastes, no, in the environment. So thank you very much. And may I just also announce, now we will also have our web forum to present our the results of the study on the bike ordinance of Davao on the 26th. Please also join us. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We will take note. To properly close this web forum, may we ask Ms. Imelda Albano, who has really been supporting us from the start, to properly close this web forum.
Thank you, Ma'am Ami, for that very generous introduction. So again, I'm Imelda Albano, I'm as a content coordinator for the Internews Earth Journalism Network. I oversee environmental programs and activities in the Philippines and the Pacific Islands. This webinar organized by MindaNews somehow clarified critical issues around COVID-19 waste management with our panel of experts, of course. So we support activities like this with Internews Earth Journalism Network. It's an international media development organization, of course, that works to build the capacity of local media and civil society actors, engaging communities in two-way communications like this, and of course, building community feedback loops that can enhance environment and community resilience. And most of our activities are on capacity building, training, fellowships, local and international learning trips, story grants for individual journalists, and media grants for media organizations such as the MindaNews. So it's really good to hear our experts tackle those issues on how to effectively manage COVID-19 medical waste and on how we can support our local community manage the emerging issues and the challenges in waste generation and management. The discussions that we had made us reflect that poor waste management can result in pollution of water sources, such as our rivers, dams, even blockage of sewer pipes and water treatment plants. And it's also imperative that we maintain a clean and healthy environment as our country intensifies its efforts to fight COVID-19. And the additional infectious medical waste could have really serious impacts on human health and the environment if not managed properly, just what our resource speakers here have shown us. So I hope we can continue our discussion beyond this webinar. That would, I think that would be all, and that your participation in this very informative and engaging webinar will be beneficial to all. So thank you to all our resource speakers and to MindaNews, of course. Good morning. Can I just an announcement, Miss Amy? So we are on the Internews Earth Journalism Network is also offering, as I mentioned, a story grant. So we have right now currently small grants for for journalists to do environmental stories like this one. So we have an average of like $1,500 to give to journalists from Asia and the Pacific region, including the Philippines. And the deadline is on August 28th. So I hope I'll see many applications from journalists from the Philippines, especially from your region. Thank you. That would be all.
Yeah, thank you very much, Imelda. Before we really go our separate ways, I would like to thank our production crew, Mr. Yaso Campo and Mr. Rob Gumba, for helping me with all this. No? And I would also like to thank the MindaNews people. And then also, of course, our spokespersons who, this is a holiday. August 24 is the culmination of our Kadayawan, but they still took time to be with us this morning. So I would really heartfelt thank you from MindaNews to all our speakers. So have a wonderful day over the remaining of the day. And I really hope to see you soon. And let's take some time also I will visit you. In other words, I will visit you. So for those who are still online, we will be streaming, of course, it's Facebook Live, and you can hear us on podcast through Spotify, Anchor, and so forth and so on. So yeah, see you. Thank you very much.